What's real estate going to look like in 2024? Look, if anybody tells you they know the answer to that, run, don't give them your money. That's a snake oil salesman. What you should know is that real estate in 2024 is going to look like this. People are going to buy it and sell it. Shazam! That's what it's going to look like. The question becomes, how are you as a professional prepared to be the one that's helping those people who are looking to buy and sell real estate? Or maybe you're a mortgage lender and you're trying to figure out how the money's going to work in 2024. Or maybe you run a really cool boutique and you'd like to know what's going to happen in the economic climate around you, knowing that real estate comprises approximately 1/5 of the US GDP. Now, when you think about all of that, you should start with the realization that 2024 is coming. I know that's kind of crazy for me to say it, but my grandma told me all the time, the older you get, the faster time flies. She was right, because here 2023 is wrapping up and you're probably the same as me, a little bit mix of yay and oh my gosh, what's coming next, and whew. And we're all that mix all the time, which is an even better reason to think about how we plan ahead for what's coming in our lives, whether you know what's coming or not. Now, you know what I do every year. Are you ready for this? We're going to do what I call Kicktail, and it's 1 hour of business planning live here on the internet with me. Now, what you're going to get for that is not your usual business planning. I don't know how to make it dry, dull, and boring, because I'm a realtor, which means I have a case of ADD, frankly, and I'm a very good multitasker most of the time, and I get really distracted. That's what our hour is going to look like. But I'll tell you, there are a lot of things you can be doing right now to make 2024 a very successful year, no matter what happens in the economy. Now, the reason I started off at the beginning with the fact that people are going to buy and sell real estate, y'all, it does not matter what's happening in lawsuits. It doesn't matter what's happening in technology. Somebody around you is looking to buy and sell real estate because it is a great investment tool. It is a great savings tool. And frankly, it's a great place for your precious pumpkins to lay their heads down and sleep at night. And when you start realizing that real estate always has a place, no matter what the angry trolls on the internet say, you got to figure out what your place is in service to that sector of the market. So let's start with the fact that if there's anything real estate agents are terrible at, and do not answer me, trolls, if y'all say ugly things, I reserve the right to block you. What real estate agents are not great at is planning, because you are spending your lives every day, all day, managing a lot of multiple things, and new issues will crop up overnight and they have to change your priority list. I get that. However, you're still running a business. So when we do our business planning session here together so that you can kick tail, it's going to be very tailored to how real estate people think. And so if you're a small business owner who landed on this somehow and you don't even know who I am, well, come on anyway, because every real estate agent is a tiny, small micro business. And there's a lot of lessons that are applicable to realtors that are also applicable to loan officers, cupcake shops, insurance agents, you name it. There's somebody out there that could probably use a little juice for their business as well. Now, here's one of the homework assignments. You're going to have to pull down this book, The 12-Week Year. It is by Brian Moran and Michael Lenington. I read this for the first time in 2015, so why am I dragging it out almost 9 years later? Because it's still really relevant, and frankly, the speed of change in real estate right now is going to require some constant reshifting of a business plan once you put one together, which is good for you realtors, because usually you put it together in January and you look at it again the next January, but we're not going to do it that way this year. This year, we're all going to be proactive, and we're going to work with each other to start crafting something that is living and helpful to the people we serve. Now, I'll also point out that I did read this for the first time almost a decade ago. And then when I was at a real estate convention a few weeks ago, my good friend Sharon from Raleigh had it in her car, and it caused me to go, oh my gosh, hadn't remembered that book in quite some time. And it is time to break it back out, because like you, I need to be planning for whatever changes have not even been spotted yet, because they're coming. Now, the 12-week year is available online. You know, you got your Kindles and your Amazons and all that. I like a real book, because as y'all know, I need to dog ear and make highlights in books. And this one actually has a place for you to write some things down. So I do recommend the hard book, especially if you're a young person. You will look really smart if you're holding a real book, just saying. Now, the other thing you want to do is go to the link down here in the description and pull down the homework, because yes, there's a homework assignment. Now look, when you're in real estate or any other micro business, you are looking to be profitable, yes? Yes? So say so in the comments if you're looking to be profitable, because we often don't talk about that when we're thinking about our business as we talk about the service aspect, and we want to be servant leaders because that is a way to build your business. But friends, if you are not keeping some of what you are making, you will not be able to serve anybody for long. So pull down that homework assignment, start filling out some of the information. Most importantly, on that homework assignment, on the RSVP, now this is free, right? But I'm asking you a question. I want you to fill out the text block, tell Leigh Brown what you need. Now, I feel like I know what my realtor's going to ask me because, I'm pretty good at spotting trends like that. But I want to know for you in specific, what's your big hiccup, your hang up, your concern, your challenge? I don't call your name out on the live stream unless you want me to. Some of y'all would like to have a little attention, high five. But if you need to be anonymous, just say, don't say my name, and I won't. But I will do as much as I can to answer your questions during the live feed. Now, last year we had 1,200 people respond, so I could not answer all of those in 1 hour. However, if you follow this channel, on Mondays, I answer one of the questions that came in from somebody. So when you have a question, I may get to it on some subsequent Monday. The second thing I want you to know is it's at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So if you're in a different time zone, then you need to make sure your calendar says 1 o'clock Eastern time, because I always get messages after people that were frustrated that they didn't realize the time zone. So it's 1 o'clock Eastern time, friends. And here's the even better part. It'll record on all these channels. But if you like to interact with your friends and peers and with me, the chat will be wide open. And if you don't need to interact, that's fine. Watch the recording. And the third thing, of course, download all the homework at the link right here. And just make sure you know this. It's free. And yes, I normally charge for stuff, but I don't charge for this because I need it as much as y'all do. So this is me thinking through my 2024 with you and thinking about how we can serve our communities in great ways in 2024. And I just want to point one thing out to y'all. You may not have realized it. There's a presidential election coming in 2024. So everybody you know is going to be on edge. People are going to be using social media to practice typing in caps and exclamation points. And we're going to talk about how you can run your business despite what's going on in the very noisy political environment, because you can. So make sure you've marked your calendars, get your book 12-week year, extra points if you read it in advance, and you still get a point if you start reading it. So just full disclosure, for those of y'all that are able to get to the end of chapter 2, that's a good start before we get together, because 2024 can be all yours if you just stand up and take it. Don't get on the couch up under a blanket. Get your face on, get your hair on. Let's get together. I'll see you live right here, which also means you probably want to click that little bell and subscribe in case you forget. The internet can remind you, and that's what I'll be looking for, is as many of your faces as possible right here so that we can kick tail together and frankly keep real estate in the space it needs to be in people's lives, which is a place of some kind of importance. I'll see you.